Welcome back, everyone, to Screamers. Me and Jessie are in the studio. Honor is in sunny Spain.
Scouting at Liga FA, watching Granada by reports.
We have so much football to get into, so should we get into it?
Let's do it. We now know who's going to be in Oslo for the Champions League final at the end of May. Sadly, it is not you, Maya. The second legs have wrapped up and the final is now going to be a clash of those old European heavyweights, Barcelona and Lyon. I'd say it was a weekend of VAR, of hitting the crossbar, of lots of players spending lots of time on the floor. Shall we start with Lyon versus Arsenal? Get the trauma out of the way.
To be honest, Lyon obviously played really well. I think they really turned up in a way they didn't in the first leg. They also had Dumournet and Basha, which made a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, it should be no surprise to anybody by now, but the difference Dumournet makes to that Lyon team when she's on the pitch.
She was a huge loss for them the first time out. But I also think, we just didn't turn up in the first half. We were slow, sluggish. I've seen people say maybe that's because of the heat. But, I mean, it wasn't... What was it, 26 degrees? It was 24 here.
Yeah, it wasn't hideously hot. And also, these are professional football players who've played in those conditions before.
Exactly.
Quite a lot, including at the Champions League final last summer. It felt like Arsenal didn't really wise up to the danger of Lyon. Like that first 15 minutes, it felt like it was just waiting for the dam to break. And obviously, there was a goal that was ruled out within that time. It's like, oh, no. Girls, wake up, wise up.
Yeah, and I can understand, that first 20 minutes, like you say, there was a goal, it was disallowed, then there was a penalty, and then they retook the penalty, and there was so much kind of stop-start. I can see it was hard to build momentum, but I just think Lyon were getting the better of all of our players in the 1v1s.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
And they were so physical, they were really well organised. They just came out all guns blazing, and we didn't. And I think we had that fantastic delivery from Smilla Holberg in the second half. I think we did show ourselves a bit better in that second half.
Yeah.
I would also just like to shout out Smilla Holberg because I thought she played so well.
Yeah.
For that, I'm really enjoying watching her at the moment. I thought she played really well in the league as well midweek.
Yeah, I was going to say when we came on to talk about the WSL, but I'm really enjoying this experiment with Smilla Holberg as a winger rather than... I think we predominantly was signed as a right back, but actually this move is looking really good.
Seems to be really working. She put that beautiful ball in for Alexia Putellas, who worked so hard to get that through two defenders.
That was a goal that came not from necessarily skill, but just from sheer might.
Yeah.
I'm going to get something on that ball.
Honestly. But I just think at that point, Lyon did look quite rattled, but we just did not capitalise on that at all.
No, didn't really take the advantage because I feel like, and it was the same in the first leg and it's been the same at other Lyon games in this Champions League run, they've been super impressive in attack. They don't seem to focus on defending for 90 minutes.
No, exactly.
And they're always there to be had. I does sort of, again, we'll get onto it a little bit in the league, but I do question maybe the sense in some of the team selection in the week against Leicester.
Yeah,
of players who were playing a large chunk of the time against a team that's, let's face it, dead and buried and not offering a huge amount of fight.
But I was wondering as well whether that was to do with, in the event that it goes down to goal difference, did we want to just go out and absolutely thump them so that we could put ourselves in the best position if Man City do trip up?
Yeah.
So I can kind of see that, but I agree, why was Kim Little on the pitch? Even Caldente,
Emily Fox.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Emily Fox just seems to be bionic, to be honest.
Yeah, she maybe sits outside of the equation. It's kind of like, obviously you had to go for it and you did have to thump Leicester to make up that goal difference, but way up, the slimmest of outside chances of the WSL versus a quite concrete possibility of getting to the Champions League final.
Yeah, that's completely fair, yeah. And then I think Lyon's last goal, that Brand goal, we are completely to blame for that, really. You can't leave Eula Brand in acres of space, goal side of Chloe Kelly in the box.
Yeah.
You actually just can't be doing that because of course she is going to make that count.
And she's going to bring that ball down and make it look so easy to finish.
Exactly.
And
I mean, she did have so much space. If you contrast that to Alessia Russo's goal when she's squeezing through, trying to wedge herself between two defenders, Eula Brown was just I could go this way, I go this way, I go that way.
Just sort of was stopping for a second, is anybody going?
Yes.
Sorry, down?
Did the whistle go?
Am I offside? No, after 3 minutes we can decide that you are not offside. It was really, really tough. My girlfriend said it was actually worse because Eula Brand is a player that she would adore being at Arsenal. So it's sort of...
She's such a clutch player.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad. I felt really low actually on Saturday. I had to take my girlfriend to the park to play with a tennis ball. I was that sad.
Outside enrichment to cheer you up.
To get all the bad energy out. But it just was a shame because it felt like we didn't turn up and it wasn't a fair fight.
Yeah.
But that's totally on us.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Yeah, 90 minutes of Arsenal playing like Arsenal, I think that goes a different way. It did mean you were then locked in for the world's biggest hate watch the next day.
Oh my God.
As we all were.
I actually would say this game, I was more rattled than the game that my own team was in.
My head has only just started to come back from being on Mars. I was still, last night, I went to bed thinking about it and thinking about how angry I was about this game.
If you weren't watching, this is the second semi-final, second leg, which was Barcelona, Bayern Munich.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we have any Barcelona fans who do still listen to us, but I would advise maybe switching off or skipping for the next 10 minutes. God knows how Bayern Munich fans must feel after that. Although I do think they might have been cursed from the off when Marmutovic turned up in a fit that looked like she'd been rifling through lost property.
I was honestly like, what's happened? Like, did they forget her kit?
So they only brought their purple goalkeeper variant, which the ref then decided would clash too much with the Barcelona kit.
She did look like, the kid at school who's had to go in the lost property.
Who'd wet herself and then had to go get all her new kit out. It doesn't inspire confidence, I'd say.
No, and also it doesn't happen to be streamlined.
No, yeah, because it was also
like
the
a huge
biggest
sack.
Apparently, Barcelona helped out and found this kit, and I'm sure
it's giving Chelsea in the socks.
Yeah, very much. I'm sure there were shirts other than like a men's XXXL for them to give this tiny little waif that is Marmutovic. But also, it was a bit like Arsenal, I think, in that Bayern Munich kind of didn't really play for the first half and set up so deep out of possession. They had Clara Ball basically playing left back.
Yeah. So the final score in aggregate was 5-3.
Yeah.
But it was so close to being 5-4. And all the momentum really was with Bayern Munich at that point in the last kind of like 10 minutes.
Arguably, it should have been 4-4 because, I mean, refereeing changed the direction of this game, I think.
100%, yeah.
I mean, there were moments of both teams playing well. There were moments of both teams playing badly. But there were so many bad decisions throughout. And it was absolutely egregious to give that free kick against
100%.
Georgia Stanway. And then you knew the moment that free kick was given that Barcelona were going to score from it.
Yeah.
And if you genuinely think that was Georgia Stanway tripping up a player and stopping an attack, why was she not given a card and then...
Exactly. None of the decisions made sense. Like
No.
Pernilla Harder's goal being overturned.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, again...
Oh, I'm rattled all over again. I'm so rattled.
Like VAR re-refereeing a game.
That was VAR re-refereeing a game, and that was Barcelona players surrounding Stephanie Frappa, demanding
that there was a VAR review.
This game, it was like Barcelona, they're footballing best. Some of the passes they were playing, some of the attacks, incredible. It was also them at their performative worst because...
Ingrid Egan taking her shoe off, refusing to leave the pitch.
The amount they were throwing themselves... There was one, the corner, Paredes is rugby tackling the young Bayern Munich forward that came on. Has her arms around her neck and then goes down and starts protesting for a foul. So no. If you hurt yourself fouling someone, you don't get a foul.
But the thing was, so many of those decisions were going their way.
Yeah, and they always do.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of talking about refereeing in women's football because obviously there are so many structural issues and reasons why refereeing is struggling in the women's game. And men's football is obviously ridden with dreadful referees and dreadful decisions. But it feels like because comparatively the pool of elite... in quotation marks referees in the women's game is smaller, that it can have absolute stinkers like this and still get to referee important
those huge games
exactly. finals, and it's so frustrating to see.
Well, and also it's like the problem is exponential because it's those same people as well looking at the VAR, and as soon as we have a competition like the Champions League that we're using VAR in, it's being misused like it was in that game. If I was a Bayern Munich player or fan, I can't even imagine how I would feel following that game. Like, you know, for a club to challenge Barcelona that much, but be sort of held back by this terrible refereeing. Barcelona was so disorganised at the back.
So sloppy.
It was unbelievable.
Some of the passes they were playing, I couldn't tell if it was complacency or just not asked. I've never seen so many misplayed passes. And you have someone like Pernilla Harder, who is still operating at such a fantastic level, can read exactly what you're going to do, put herself in the position to snatch so many of those misplaced passes and make stuff out of it. Oh,
she must feel so angry, honestly.
I mean, if I was Pinner, I just two-footed somebody come off the pitch. Or Georgia Stanway just come back on like, right, fine, you're going to give me a free kick against something like that? I'll show you what a free kick is. It felt like Barcelona were operating at a level that they weren't at last game. They definitely stepped up. But they let themselves down with some of their...
Exactly. I still don't think they're going to, by any means, walk this. Like,
No.
I think Firstly, I just want to say, like, I think you've already said it, but props to Polina Harder, like 33 years old, like still showing such quality, like reading the game. She is amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't recovered from her hat trick against Arsenal when I flew to Munich for that group stage.
That shows how big of a person you are, that you can still be full of praise for her.
She is an absolutely incredible forward, but I think Barcelona need to watch out from Lyon, because Lyon are so much better organised. I mean, arguably, they're both quite shit at the back.
Yeah, I think it could be an incredibly high-scoring final.
Yeah, me too. Or one team steps up their defending and it's theirs for the taking.
Yeah, because neither of them at the minute seem like they care about keeping a clean sheet. I would say, from a Barcelona perspective, I thought Salma Paraluelo was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, she was
I would
phenomenal.
100% start her in the final over Claudia Pina.
Mm-hmm.
I think not only is she brilliantly talented, there's also an unselfishness to her game that I don't think there is with Pina, that just raises up everybody else alongside her.
I agree. And that wasn't the only football this weekend. We are coming to the end of the season, so we had a very exciting round of games. Those Arsenal fans among us may have died a little with that hope that we had in the Liverpool Man City game.
I've never known such support from Arsenal fans for a Liverpool. So many Arsenal fans tuning in to watch a Liverpool game. So out of the blue.
I really thought you guys were going to pull through for me, honestly, Jessie.
Oh, it did feel like it might be written in the stars, like Gaz Taylor going back to Man City and frustrating their title hopes. And I think we played really well. Though obviously we rode our luck at times because Lauren Hemp was doing Lauren Hemp things down that wing consistently.
But Bunny Shaw didn't have a good day at all. I think, Lauren Hemp's speed is just unmatched, isn't it? And it's hard to know how to deal with her.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't coming off after that for them for most of the game.
It's it really felt like, once again, the story of the season in that match, and that we played brilliantly for 85 minutes. And who better than Gareth Taylor to know how to set up a plan to contain most of those City players. And then just one blip. Jennifer Falk she was
brilliant all game,
and then just made the wrong decision with that weird diving salmon header from Rebecca Kanak.
But how important might that game be? It feels like it's the title winning goal.
I mean, she only scores big goals as well, Rebecca Kanak. The second goal of the season. I think the other one was equally as important. I think something about our attack didn't fully click together. I think watching Schillag and Olsen, they don't have that chemistry yet of playing together, because they've not really started many matches together, and they weren't quite anticipating each other, they weren't feeding each other in properly. It was so nearly there.
Yeah, both of them had a few good chances.
I mean, the best one was Grace Fisk, who I also think did a dynamite job of containing Bunny Shaw. And Jenna Clark. So it's so nice to have tall centre backs to be able to compete with tall forwards. But shout out once again to Kerry Holland, who A, drives this team forward. B, I saw a tweet that said, I'm not sure of the stats, but I'm pretty sure no one gets balls to face more than Kerry Holland does. Constantly throwing herself in the firing line. And then getting booed by Man City fans for being hurt.
Terrible week for Leicester, unfortunately.
Oh, God, yeah. It's
7-0 loss to Arsenal midweek. And then at home to Chelsea, losing 3-1 yesterday.
I thought that was going to be much higher with the way Chelsea started that game.
I was surprised. Yeah, I thought it was going to be basically a repeat of the Arsenal game midweek, because watching that game, it looked like Leicester were in training. It didn't look like they were playing in a competitive fixture.
Their players, I mean, understandably, their season's not gone to plan, but they just don't look up for it at all.
No.
You'd think you're not playing for survival at this point. You have one match to play for survival, but play for pride.
Honestly, because it just looked like, they were jogging around the pitch. Like, where were the defenders? Like, we scored 7 goals, but it was much too easy. Yeah,
I think it was a really difficult game for Katie Keane to be dropped into at half-time for her debut against Arsenal. Made her full debut against Chelsea. Ironically, given the scorelines, I think has been one of the highlights of Leicester in these two games.
Yeah.
Because to be so young in a team that has clearly just lost all its fight and be commanding the box, shouting at your defence to do better, making some great saves.
Yeah.
But they had Shannon O'Brien was up for it in the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
Took advantage of a mistake and scored a brilliant goal. Hannah Kane was up for it, almost scored another brilliant goal. But apart from that, I don't understand why Leicester aren't playing Mouchon more. It
just feels like the sort of hope and ambition in that team has died. And we'll come on to the WSL2, but I'm just not backing them in that playoff at all, because if it's on mentality, like they just seem to have lost all hunger and fight.
They've resigned themselves to going down, it seems.
But in a season where for the first time that doesn't have to be the case.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
It's so strange, and it's so sad because there are some really promising players in that team, and I would be surprised if they do go down, if any of those players, like the Hannah Kanes, Shannon O'Briens, if they stay.
And I hope they don't stay, because like someone like Hannah Kane, especially for Wales, has developed so much in this league and has been playing so well that it would be such a shame if she lost that sort of competitive. Obviously WSL2 is amazing, but she is quality enough to be in the WSL.
100%.
And then we also had Spurs London City Lionesses, which was a really exciting matchup, I thought.
Yeah, and this now means that Spurs have got their highest ever WSL points total,
which is amazing. Yeah.
Such a great reward for their progression this season. And what about London City Lionesses? We're going to come disrupt and get European football, I thought, weren't they?
Well, do you know what? So more on this in a minute, but I've been filming this series in the WSL recently, and so I spent some time at London City Lionesses a few weeks ago. Having spent my time there, I really bought into their project, and I looking at this fixture coming down the pipeline, I really thought London City Lionesses were going to have it, because their energy and the way that all the players are really bought into the project. And I kind of felt like Spurs had a bit of a hiccup in the last couple of months, and it felt like London City Lionesses had that momentum. So I was quite surprised actually at this result, but we got a bit of Gorpset magic.
Oh yeah, I mean both the Spurs goals came
Olivia
from
Holt screamer.
I mean, when is it not these days? Yeah. They both came from like individual mistakes from London City Lionesses, but you still had to have the quality to capitalise on them.
Exactly.
I mean, how Gorpset weaves that goal in is fantastic.
It's perfect, and then finds that space right in front of the goal.
Yeah.
I think Lena Gunning-Williams had that great moment, that 1v1. Like that going a bit too early. Again, it's a bit like what we were saying about Hannah Kane like a season ago. Like she has now really refined that and has that composure to be able to know when to strike. And I think Lena Gunning-Williams, her speed is incredible.
She's so rapid,
but she just went a bit too early, and that's just like a confidence learning really. But it's really exciting seeing her be able to pull that kind of thing off,
and it's nice to see her getting more minutes as well, because I feel like the start of the season, end of last season, was getting sort of 2 or 3 minutes here there, maybe 10, and now she's getting much more time. I think the momentum definitely, I did think London City Lionesses was going to come back into it at the very end.
Me too.
Is it that Freya Godfrey chance, and Alana Kennedy had another one as well. I mean, it has just become a stick to beat them with, isn't it? They said they were going to come and disrupt, because on the face of it, a team that comes up in comfortably 7th, never once worried about going back down, is actually an incredible result.
It's massive, yeah, exactly. I think they, like you said, they shot themselves in the foot by saying we're going to get Europe. Yeah, that was obviously never going to happen, partly just because of the turnover, the 17 new players they had last summer. That's just not going to happen.
No.
But maybe exciting things for next season. There's big rumours about who they might be signing.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
But yeah, amazing for Spurs. Record points tally, like you say. Obviously Beth England, their captain's leaving, and that will leave a big hole. But they have some amazing, exciting new players. Like we said, they've made some great new signings this season. So yeah.
And another one of your recent filming locations were also in action, Brighton.
Yes, Brighton, Man U.
Yeah.
Again, spending some time at Brighton.
She's so well travelled, everybody.
I'm just pinging around all over the place.
Yeah, Bromley, Brighton, where else are you going to go?
I think Jessie mentioned a few weeks ago, but I am currently filming a series called WSL Unlocked, which is basically a weekly preview show of the weekend's fixtures, but the way I'm doing it is kind of filming a programme at a different club each week. So this week I was at Brighton kind of in the run up to their Man U game. And I think, again, I filmed a masterclass with Ndozi, and we have always thought she's a brilliant goalkeeper. She's such a good signing for them. Yeah. She is, again, I thought was really good in this game. I'll put a link to the masterclass in our programme notes, because it is really interesting for any budding footballers out there. It's genuinely very interesting how she talks Anita Asante, who was my presenter, through kind of the decision making and how she prepares for a game and all those types of things. Is really in quite a lot of depth. Is very interesting, I thought. And
especially for those of us who watch a lot of football or play a lot of football, unless you're a goalkeeper, it's still such a opaque area of the game.
100%. And also how much do they actually know about the forwards who they're coming up against that weekend and all that kind of thing. And then so in terms of this game, I think Brighton are very, probably like a lot of those mid-table teams, but their big ambition is to make top 4. Yeah. Obviously they knocked Arsenal out of the FA Cup. They beat Man City. Yeah. So they are obviously doing something right.
Yeah, they can scout big teams. I think actually what undoes Brighton quite a lot is playing the teams around them.
Exactly. And again, talking to Charlie Rule and Maddie Haley, that's exactly what they were saying. Like, from the outside, those results like beating Man City are really surprising, but they're not unexpected to them.
Yeah.
And actually what they need to work on is that consistency of taking points off the teams that are more kind of around them, because that's where they often fall down. And as we know, as I know very deeply as an Arsenal fan, in this league, if you're not consistent, because there aren't thousands and thousands of games, if you just drop points in a few games that you should really be winning, it's over for you.
Yeah, it can get away with you so quickly, and that's what happened to Man U effectively.
Exactly.
Had a rough patch of form around the turn of the year, and all of a sudden looking like set for Champions League spots has ripped away.
I mean, I think with Man U, we've talked about it in previous seasons, they always do kind of start fading because of their depth, and I think we thought that might not happen this year because they have strengthened a little bit and they did come out all guns blazing a bit, but they were playing Champions League, which put a lot more strain on them, and maybe they didn't fade as quickly as usual, but essentially that's what they've done.
Yeah, and I think there's an argument about tactically how they're set up to take advantage of the depth that they haven't had. I think they've probably, in terms of sheer bodies, not expanded too much. Obviously, they let a lot of people go as well, but the quality of the depth, I think, is what's improved this season.
Yeah.
But it's still, they've faded exactly the same point they fade every season.
Yeah. Exacerbated
by the Champions League run. And it is so shit when you work so hard and then you get to the end of the season and your fate is entirely out of your hands.
100%.
And they've got no one but themselves to blame for that, because there are games that they let get away from them they really shouldn't have. And it is another season where I think Man United will look at it and be like, in terms of like the pure footballing sense, we've not kicked on in the way we should have, and you have to wonder when that is going to happen. Yeah. I'm not enjoying Brighton on their shit hot streak at the minute though, as we're looking to face them next week.
And let me tell you, having been there, they are so up for this game.
God. I mean, if you could just start, if you could if you got any of their numbers still, could you ask them for a little favour? We are recording this ahead of the last WSL game of this round, which is Aston Villa West Ham. So that will happen by the time this episode goes out. What will also have happened is we will know who the other team to be promoted to the WSL2 is, as the playoff between Wolves and Plymouth is also happening in about 2.5 hours. I got really outraged. I'd forgotten this was a bank holiday, and I saw when the playoffs were, I was like, why did you go on a Monday in the middle of the day? Oh, yes, bank holiday. Yeah, people can go to that game.
But some big action in the WSL2, which has finished.
Yeah.
The season has come to a close. Box office fixture for the final day. Top two teams playing each other.
At the start of the day, it was Charlton were first, Birmingham were second, and Crystal Palace were third. And it was
Birmingham and Charlton tied on points.
Yeah. So it was kind of Palace was the result that was going to have the impact on everything, really, because I think if Charlton and Birmingham had drawn, if Palace lost, then it would have stayed the same.
Yeah.
And Palace went, no, actually, we are going to absolutely tonk Portsmouth, who, bless them, are already out. And they're like, 6 goals? Yes, thank you very, very much.
So the way it's concluded is Birmingham and Crystal Palace have got the automatic promotion spots.
Yep.
And Charlton, some very sad end of match scenes actually.
Yeah.
Charlton are going through to the playoff. But I back them against Leicester, like I said earlier.
I 100% back them against Leicester, because I think they have I really do feel for them, because they led that league for so long and they were so dominant, and they hit a rough patch of form just at the wrong one. And also, again, they had a really good FA Cup run. They took it to extra time against Liverpool, which also has an impact on the squad and energy levels. And I think for it to be so close for them, they're going to go into that chucking everything at it. I think it's proof of Birmingham's intent with this project for the women. They were relegated from the WSL 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, maybe 5.
And it's been sort of a slow but steady build. And I think it was really indicative of the project that the 2 goals they scored against Charlton were both from Liedhammer.
Yeah.
Their record signing, the WSL2 record signing, and that's just really shows that they are going where they want to go.
And I'm really interested to see, now they know they're coming up to WSL, what their summer transfer window is going to look like.
Very true.
How they're going to bolster that side. So let's see. But very exciting. And yeah, the playoff is the same day as the Champions League final.
So we will not be going to Oslo. We will be going to Southeast London.
Perfect.
Speaking of European football, there was also the Europa Cup.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which, in their wisdom, UEFA did not get broadcast rights for, but was won over the 2 legs by, it was an all-Swedish final, Häcken versus Hammarby, was won by Hacken over the 2 legs. I would argue won by Felicia Schroeder over the 2 legs with a hat trick in less than an hour in the second leg. I mean, if WSL and European clubs were sniffing around there last season, they're sure as hell going to be this summer. It's such a shame that it wasn't more easily accessible. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff on social media, and they put a lot of, sort of clips out around the final. But to have a really flourishing second European competition will be so good for the growth of the women's game. Especially think about how many WSL clubs love shopping in Scandinavia.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to watch those teams in real life. And I found out, I was on Reddit last night, and there was an interview. It was translated, so some of it might not be super accurate. But apparently the prize money for winning was €450,000, which actually doesn't even cover the costs of having taken part in the tournament. Which
this again.
I think it was a sporting director of Hacken, and he said, we knew that going in, like, this is not a complaint about that. It's more that UEFA needs to do more for this competition, which we've always known is the case. And then next weekend is the FA Cup semi-finals. We've got Liverpool versus Brighton and Chelsea versus Man City. I really feel like Liverpool-Brighton is going to go to extra time. I just feel it in my bones.
I'm so pleased the draw has worked out this way, because it's definitely the two most competitive versions of those fixtures.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it will be a new FA Cup finalist again, which again is great to see.
Yeah.
I have to believe that Liverpool are making it through against potentially all evidence to the contrary, given how Brighton are playing. But I have to believe that we are making it through.
I think that game's anyone's, and I think similarly with Chelsea Man City, I think it could go either way.
Yeah, after this weekend, I would quite like to play City again, because I think a second stab we might get them. But I do see Chelsea getting the better of them, I think. But we
shall see. So with so much football this week, it is time to pick our Screams of the Week. Jessie, what are you going for?
I feel like I want to throw in about 17 existential screamers, to be honest.
My God.
Clara Ball's crossbar rattler. Yeah. Was it Stina had one that hit the crossbar? Everyone was just smashing crossbars left, right and centre. Honourable mention to the first of Felicia Schroeder's hat-trick, where she gets the ball on the spin, turns and just fires it into the bottom corner. But I think I can't not go for the Olivia Holt goal.
Yeah.
Simply because my burgeoning love for Olivia Holt and all that she does on the football pitch has been the story of my season. So
that was on my shortlist too. I think that is becoming her signature. Like Freya Godfrey has got a bit of a signature this season, so too has Olivia Holt.
Yep.
And it is a screamer.
It's the moment it leaves her foot. I think when you have players like that, where the moment it's the Claudia Pina thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
When it comes out and you know it's going in the goal, it's just.
Well, similarly, I think therefore, if you're going to go for Olivia Holt, I will go for Lauren James.
I thought you might.
Who again, it's like, if it's any other player, you're like, oh my gosh, how has that just happened? But with LJ, you're just like, yeah, of course.
It's just she plays football in a way that makes football look so easy.
Effortless. Absolutely effortless.
Just run out of words to describe what it is like watching her play football.
She's just on a complete other level. Like, Chelsea are so lucky they have her and that she's back in form, because it has really changed their fortunes, her being back in form.
Yeah.
So we will put those 2 goals up on Instagram, and you will be able to vote on Instagram and Spotify for your Screamer of the Week.
We've reached that time of the season a couple of weeks to go where the news starts trickling in about who's retiring over the summer, who's moving on. Although it feels less of a trickle and more of a deluge this week.
God, I was going to say, yeah.
With all of the news that's coming in. So the first, I guess the big one that's grabbed a lot of headlines is that Millie Bright has announced her immediate retirement from football, which I think we maybe thought might be coming.
Yeah.
But the out of the blue nature of it dropping it took me by surprise.
Yeah, I thought the immediate effect part I found quite surprising, because I just thought, well, she hasn't really been playing anyway, so why not just kind of come along for the ride for literally 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But fair enough, maybe she's just ready to go and make content.
Well, can't wait for the TikToks. I mean, she said, I think it was in her BBC Sport interview, that she'd been physically and mentally ready to retire for a year, which I think is quite, I mean, she's had loads of bad luck with injuries this season, hasn't she? And I guess it just takes its toll on you. But I don't know, that's kind of weird. I never expected that from her, that level of like, I've been done now for a year.
Yeah, no, me too. Hopefully she will come round to a more kind of positive view of it, but it does feel quite a sort of negative ending for now.
Yeah.
But like you say, I think we could see it coming.
Yeah, I empathise with that kind of sense of not wanting to push through if you're not 100%, and I think that is a brave call. I do struggle with a little bit of some of the other stuff she said in her interviews since about wanting to leave the game better, and there's been so much toxicity in football, and it's like maybe take a look in the mirror, because some of that recently
glass houses
has been coming from you, and I think you can leave the game in a better place, but you've maybe not been actively doing that recently. I'd be quite surprised if she has a public role in football, to be honest, outside of the podcast and the occasional like pundit gig, because I think she's clearly so desperate to get back to them horses.
Yeah, I think she is going to stay as part of Chelsea Foundation, which I think is great.
I think she's ambassador for it, isn't she?
Yeah, she's like a big role model for young girls and stuff, and I think that's great. But yeah, she seems very keen to join the horses, so I say good luck to her.
Good luck to her. And who else is retiring is Laura Coombs.
Yes.
I am constantly surprised by Laura Coombs' age. I think I simultaneously think she's both younger and older than she is. What do you mean she's 35? No, she's either 28 or 39. What are you talking about? She seems to have been around forever.
She has been around forever. But, you know, she's been getting less and less minutes. She's 35, as you say, so feels like a good time for her.
She's that kind of player that I think every top squad needs, isn't it? It's
like when Rachel Williams used to be brought out for Man U.
Yeah, supremely talented in their own right, but can be a team player, can be a leader.
Jill Scott at the Euros.
Yeah, they set those standards, and I think hearing everybody talk about her, I mean, Gaz did quite a nice bit in the pre-match conference for Liverpool versus City, because obviously he managed her at City.
Yeah.
She also played a lot for Liverpool and sort of shouting out like her professionalism and her as a player, and
that's nice.
Yeah, she's really going to be missed from football, I think. And then there's a couple of big names who are moving on from clubs, not retiring, but Beth England and Leah Galton are both leaving, well, Spurs and Man United respectively.
Leah Galton, one of the last 3 OGs of that Man United squad. So Ella Toone and Millie Turner are now the only remaining of the original squad.
Which is wild.
I know. And Leah Galton has been really unlucky, I think, with injuries in the last couple of seasons.
I think she's only had 4 WSL appearances this season. I really hope she can have a good summer and get over that, because I think she could offer so much to a team still.
She has been so brilliant for that side. Like, she is such an amazing player. And I think sometimes she flies under the radar because she's never wanted to be part of the England setup. Yeah. That people kind of don't really know much about her quality, but she's been so significant for that side.
I mean, you have to think those WSL2 teams coming up would be looking at someone like Leah Galton thinking,
she's got so much experience, so much quality.
As with Beth England.
Yeah, I wonder where she's going to go.
That decision is the one that has surprised me the most of all of these, I think, because obviously she's getting into the later years of her career, and Spurs clearly have this direction they want to go in, and they want young, exciting prospects, but someone with that level of experience.
Yeah, I know.
As you want to make the move now into that next level as a club,
you need those stalwarts.
She was at Chelsea for years. She knows what it's like to be operating at that high level. That's the kind of voice you need in the dressing room.
Yeah.
And Martin Ho he was asked about it, and he acknowledged it is a risk, but they are all on board with it. And he said they didn't want to just announce it in the summer. It's not brave to do that and wait till the season's ended. We owe it to her and to the fans to give her a chance to say goodbye, which I did respect.
That's nice. And she did get that moment at the end of their last home game this weekend. And then there's loads of players coming out of contract.
Yeah.
So Bunny Shaw.
I mean, was her throwing in the towel yesterday in the City game because she was already en route to Chelsea?
Well, exactly. So apparently Chelsea have offered her a huge deal that has not been matched by Man City yet.
But you got to think you can't let this drag on for much longer, because it's just a sign of no respect for the player, really, isn't it?
I can't have her going to Chelsea.
But it's the only way I think that Sam Kerr leaving makes sense to me, because Sam Kerr has still got so much to offer. Sam
Kerr's just become Chelsea's top WSL goal scorer ever.
Somehow manipulating her spine to bend in about 4 different ways to be able to header that ball in. You think, no. You have that woman playing for you for as long as she can physically move.
And has it been confirmed she's leaving at the end of the season, or was that just a rumour?
I think it's still just a rumour, but she keeps doing those sort of cryptic Snapchats that are suggesting things.
And of course, her contract's up at the end of the season, as is Hannah Hampton's.
That's the one that they should get sorted immediately as well.
And Lucy Bronze.
Although I think there's rumours that she has been offered a new contract, Lucy Bronze, because I've seen a lot of very annoyed Chelsea fans on Twitter saying, why are we offering Lucy Bronze a new contract and not Sam Kerr?
I see, okay. And then obviously at Arsenal, most of our squad. Will
the last one out please turn off the lights?
Stina Blacksenius, Leah Williamson and Steph Catley have all renewed.
Yeah. I really liked Steph Catley bringing the dog and having the family on Zoom.
So cute.
It was very sweet.
Very nice touch. Victoria Pelova, if I was her, I would leave. I think she is leaving. She's pretty much said that she's leaving.
Yep.
Especially if Reuterler's coming.
Yeah. Although the rumours seem to have gone quiet on that one since, haven't they?
I hope not. Well, Georgia Stanway apparently is very close to being done. So either way, we're strengthening the midfield, and she would be getting less minutes. Emily Fox's contract is also up, and we haven't yet heard if we're renewing, but I'm absolutely desperate for her to be renewed. Like,
you're going to march down to the Emirates. Sorry, where is she? Get me a pen and a paper.
What are you up to? What do you mean I haven't had my Emily Fox renewal video?
Just nervous, like refreshing the Instagram every day, like where is it? I mean, I don't understand how you would risk letting Emily Fox go, especially if you are letting... I mean, I have my own thoughts and feelings about Katie McKay, but that is a big loss to that squad and to that club.
I think it's a big loss, but I also think it's time.
I think it is the right time, but
especially if we're getting Ona Batcher, which is another big rumour.
I mean, is there a player who hasn't been linked with Arsenal in the...
Look, you're going to be laughing on the side of your face if we get Reuteler, Stanway and Batcher, and I think it's going to happen.
Well, who knows? Maybe Liverpool will stake a mad late claim for the Alexia Putellas signing. Who knows? Can you imagine?
You're London City Lioness.
Yeah. Come on, St Helens of. You'll love it. You'll love it. Because, I mean, the rumours have been swelling for a while that Alexia is off. And then additional rumours that she's coming to London City Lionesses.
And she was crying when she was subbed off yesterday at the game.
She was crying in a way that was very, very emotional.
It was very as it's your last game at Camp Nou.
Yeah, and she was asked about it after the game, and she said, I was just so overcome at seeing Camp Nou so full, and it's been obviously a stressful week preparing.
Oh, pull the other one.
And then she said, and to achieve a goal that we've had for such a long time, babe, you've been in the final 8 years in a row.
What are you talking about?
This is not like a long-held dream. This is very much, I'm off now.
She's off to Kent.
She's off to Kent. Maya will be figuring out where you can base yourself, Alexia. Don't worry, we'll do that research for you.
I'm on Rightmove as we speak. And just the last one for Arsenal, I think it's also time for Caitlin Ford to go.
Yes.
I think she hasn't recorded any assists yet in the league this season. Like, that is not the kind of stats we need from her in that position. And also, I just think, having signed Olivia Smith, Smilla Holmberg now playing on the wing, I just think we don't need her.
That Smilla Holmberg transition to the wing makes the... shopping a bit easier this summer as well, because if you're going to lose Caitlin Ford and we think maybe Beth Mead, it's easier to replace one winger than it is to replace two.
Exactly.
Just in terms of, Claire Wheatley's famed negotiation skills. If clubs know you come in looking for two wingers, they might start charging a little bit more.
Jessie, have you got anything for the Woso Community Noticeboard?
Well, I guess we should talk about your buddies in Brighton and their new stadium plans that's been announced.
Amazing.
They're going to be building I think it's a 10,000 seater stadium on the same plot of land as the Amex. So it's going to be like part of the same campus, sort of like how Man City has.
Yeah.
Which I really like that as a plan.
I do as well. I think that's kind of the perfect thing, because it's like you're not having to share a stadium, so you're not going to get the last minute changes that we have had when we're sharing a men's stadium. But it's not like you have to travel out to some random place. You're in the place and the identity of the club.
That's it. Yeah, you are setting out your own path for the growth, because I saw there's been lots of discourse about it, and people are like, well, why are they building a 10k stadium when they only sort of get 3-4k? It's like, well, because 10k, 3,000 to 4,000 people in a 10,000 seater stadium feels buzzy and will attract more people. 3,000 people in a 35,000 seater stadium just feels dead.
Yeah,
I think this will be really good for the growth. It gives them their own identity while also being an integral part of the club. All great. I just wish they hadn't used really crappy generative AI in the launch video.
Very strange video.
Like, so obvious as well.
So
obvious. I just think, come on. There's been such a big conversation about generative AI and football graphics and football media recently.
Have you been listening, Brighton?
Yeah, such an own goal. The other news actually has come to us from a Screamers listener, from Holly, who got in touch to say that Portsmouth, who we said have been relegated from the WSL2, I think that was confirmed either last week or the week before. But next season, the women's team are going to play all of their matches at Fratton Park, which is the main club stadium. So, Holly said that it makes relegation somewhat bittersweet, as there's been a clear lack of investment alongside having to meet WSL2 standards. I mean, the club has lost a lot of money, but this is promising because it shows they are committed to the women's team going forward.
Which is great.
And I think that when you are losing the prominence that being in the top two leagues gives you, anything you can do to sort of draw eyes to the club, and part of that is doing it at the main stadium. People have an attachment to that as Portsmouth fans, and that's the kind of move that does make sense when you're trying to get back up.
100%, and we've talked about this already, but it will be really interesting on that same note to see what happens with Leicester being relegated with their funding next season, if they do get relegated, that is, and also with Spurs, if the men's team does get relegated, what that will do to Spurs, because, you know, we've been talking about it for months. They're on this quite amazing project and journey. They've just got their record points tally already. They've achieved it before the season's even finished.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see if they continue to be backed, or if that changes if the men's team go down.
Yeah, hopefully it's not another case of women's teams being cut off at the knees because 11 overpaid men couldn't get their act together. That's all for Screamers this week. We'll come back next week when we'll be seeing how the FA Cup semi-finals have played out and if Liverpool are going to Wembley. And we'll have a million Arsenal games in hand to catch up with as well. But until then, follow us across Instagram, TikTok and YouTube at @screamers_pod, or drop us an email at screamerspod@gmail.com.
And please follow, rate and review us wherever you're listening to us right now so we can reach even more football fans. Bye.
Bye.